So, where's another place that we've seen references to Mother Nature, to different ideas on what the female form should look like? I'll give you this example. It's an advertisement from a Dove soap ad from television that ran in the 2009, 2010, that kind of time frame there. And there was some response in the art world, in advertising especially, that was trying to promote a better vision for girls and something for women to look at instead of being inundated with these completely and totally unrealistic body forms in terms of advertising, commercials, what they would see on television shows and that sort of thing. And so Dove decided to say, this is what the world looks like. The world looks more normal. It's not like what you would see at the Paris Fashion Show. Around the same time, the Paris Fashion Show, one of the biggest and most popular ones and most influential ones in the world, decided to do their part and pass a rule to help ease the body image concerns that people were putting forth, that these supermodels walking on the catwalk were not really representing what a normal, everyday woman on the street was looking like. And then people would turn around and try to emulate them by dieting and mass dieting and trying, almost becoming unhealthy with the amount of weight loss. So the Paris Fashion Show did their part by saying no one that walks down the catwalk be able to wear will be less than a size 0 or 00. Now listen to that. Less than a size 0 or 00. That's pretty small. Now granted, I don't wear women's clothes, but ladies out there, or men, go look at your ladies' clothes and see what size they wear. I'm pretty sure that it's probably not a size 0 or a 00. So in this particular ad, we have an image that projects health, that projects confidence, that is more motherly, very similar to what we saw with the Venus of Willendorf images. Now, is it one-to-one? No. Were they looking directly at it? No. But it does come from the same mindset. There are certain images, there are certain ideas that pop into our head when you see someone that is built a certain way, or if they dress a certain way, or if they look a certain way. And someone that is skinny to the point where you can see all of their ribs, you can see their collarbones and their shoulder blades popping out, that does not project an image of health. And so Dove Soap decided that they wanted to be associated with something other than the norm that was going on in other circles. We also see art that is used, that there's just kind of subtle references to the subject matter of what came before it. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the painting Adam and Eve by Lucas Cranach the Elder. In the lower right-hand corner, we have something that is very similar to that painting. It's not a direct copy, but it is very similar, and it comes from the opening credits of Desperate Housewives, which was a television show that ran for many, many years. In the early to mid-2000s. The struggles between man and woman, the choices that are made, that's what that television show is about. We could say that that idea originated in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. It's just a subtle reference, a subtle hearkening back, a tip of the hat to maybe not that particular painting where it's, we need to pay homage to Lucas Cranach the Elder, because most people don't know who that is, but just to the idea. And we get it. We get the idea that is behind it, that it represents the relationships between men and women. Now here's something a little different. You may have seen a car like this rolling around your hometown. You may have not known the technical term of what it is called. In car culture circles, it is either called a donk or a bubble or a box. That all depends on what era it comes out of. Usually, there's some sort of garish paint scheme that comes straight out of pop culture. And it's a bit of a question that goes toward that early car culture where we have an identification with speed, an identification with freedom, and an identification with the individual. But those cars were usually more of a style statement that was supposed to go fast. And then you had the lowrider culture that came along. It's supposed to be very, very flashy, but it's supposed to go slow. You're just supposed to cruise along and not worry about anybody else, but you have this very, very, very flashy car. And then there's this sense that comes with car culture quite often that is brand loyalty. You have people that only drive Chevys and people that only drive Fords and people that only use Mopar parts and those sorts of things. And if you take all that and you mix it together, and then you start throwing in some popular notions of the day, like NASCAR, that is very much all about the car culture. People latch onto their certain drivers who promote a certain brand, or if they change their sponsors, they go from one brand to another. You take all that and you mix it together, and you get something that looks like this. If you don't believe me, read the New York Times article that's there at the bottom. You should be able to still find the article through that link. And it kind of goes into it and how this all came about. It's not a deep seated self-expression. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek. It's a car that it is flashy, like most folks want it to be if you're trying to soup up your car. It is very expressive, but it's almost like pop art. It's taking directly from things that are almost nostalgic. So you see a lot of candies and cereals and foods that go with it. Who knows? Maybe it's because it's supposed to be a tasty ride or something. Who knows? And then you have references to culture that aren't necessarily out in the open. When you look at the work of Andy Warhol, especially his Campbell Soup things and those sorts, and even the Marilyn Monroes and the Elvis Presley pieces, they are, in a way, referencing human nature. How we take things, mundane things, like a Campbell Soup can, or a certain brand, and we latch onto it, and we promote it, and keep promoting it, and keep promoting it, and keep promoting it. And we do this with celebrities, very much so. And it gets to the point of, we don't want to say worship. In some ways it can, especially with celebrities. But we take just mundane objects, and we put them on a higher pedestal than they should be. If you don't believe me, look in your pocket. Do you carry around a specific phone? Are you a Samsung person? Do you only go for the new iPhone? Do you know anyone that has waited outside of a Mac store and slept overnight for the newest iPhone to come out? We're taking a mundane object and putting it on a pedestal. Instead of this just being a piece and saying, wow, I don't get it, it's just a Campbell Soup can. Well, it's more about that. There are subtle references to human nature and how we take things and we blow them way out of proportion and we put them up on a pedestal. Another really good example, if you don't believe me, watch the television show American Idol. And then here's a little bit. Changing gears just a second. We find references that hold on throughout history. They usually come in the form of symbolism, color symbolism, and that's the one we're going to kind of talk about a little bit here. You have the same theme that goes throughout, and I'm going to show you 3 different images that are all based on the same theme, but very, 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 very different takes. This particular piece is found in the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, and the Hagia Sophia is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, Christian church in the Western world. What do we have here? We have a woman wearing blue with a bit of a halo, with a child on her lap, and he has a halo too. Even if you didn't know the story, you could probably decipher it, especially if you've ever went to Sunday school in a Christian church. You can see that this is Mary and Jesus. Mary is usually depicted in blue. Through the Renaissance, early artwork, early Christian artwork, Joseph is usually depicted in orange. And you can kind of pull away information just through subtle references that come to us in the way of symbolism. But now take it and look just a little bit further at a different image.